I am working on a Dual Pane file manager, and this is a project that I kind of use like my Hello World project for every new language. I've created one in Windows 8, Windows 10, and I've created one in Python, but that was 7 years ago. So I decided to create a new version with all the new things that I learned. You know what a Dual Pane manager looks like. You know, it's based on the Norton Commander from way back when. I can navigate through my folders here. And I had a problem when I delete an item here. I start a queue here in the bottom. And let me start another action. Right now it doesn't do anything because it doesn't start the operation. But I had a problem here that this sidebar here is not stretching all the way down. So I looked at the code because I copied some of the code from the old version, and I found this code here. This is where all the widgets get their positions on the screen. The problem was here that it has all these values here, like 0, 1, 3, 1. I put comment here behind the lines to tell me what exactly these values mean. But this is not great. So I asked ChatGPT what these values actually mean, and it shows the signature here. When I add a widget, it needs the widget, the row, the column, row span, and column span. Now, numbers like this are called magic values or magic numbers, and it's actually a thing in programming where you look at the code and you see numbers like this. So, and at the moment when you type the code, you probably knew what they meant, but if you revisit your code after, well, in this case, I don't know, 7 years, but even sometimes after a week, you still have to think, okay, what did these values mean? Now, the first step could be to put all these comments here, but there's a much better solution for this, and that is just to create variables for them. I did it with the row here, and I will create variables for the other values. So the first thing I will do is replace this 3 here. That was the row span. I will first make it exactly how it is at this moment. So this looks good. I start a delete operation. So and now you still see this this stretching problem here. I guess it is because the sidebars also need to stretch all the way. I think they also need to have a row span. So I will give them a row span. But if I use a row span, I also need to have a column span. So I will also make a column span. And each element always has a column span of 1. And I know that sounds redundant, but now at least I know what this value 1 here means. So, and the last sidebar also gets a row span and a column span. Okay, let's check what that looks like. And now I delete. Yes, that's much better. Look at this. So now this stretches. My first version also had a button bar here. So I know that this row span of 3 actually needs to be row span of 2. So I change it and I delete it and I start a delete operation, and this still works. So I get an additional benefit, of course, now that I only need to change this value once. Now, the last thing I can do is I still have this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, it's pretty obvious what this does. This is the column that I'm distributing in. But I could even do this. I could say I start at column 0, and I put it here. And I then do column plus equals 1. And this is col, and I need to do this between each element. And then I can just replace these magic values with col. Let me see if that still works. Now, at this point, of course, I can get rid of comments like this. I could choose to let this one stay vertical line between left sidebar and pane, because that actually tells me something. But this here where I describe the previous magic values or magic numbers can now be deleted. So this code now is a little bit more verbose, of course, but when I revisit this code in the future, I will not have any problem finding out what all these values mean, because there are no magic numbers here anymore. I hope this helps you.